Good evening and welcome to the City of Pasco Council meeting this September 5th. The council thanks you for being part of your city government. At meetings, the City Council takes formal action on items, holds public hearings, and conducts other business of the city. Agenda packets are available on the City of Pasco's website at www.pasco-wa.gov/agenda. This meeting is also being televised on PSC TV channel 191 on Spectrum Cable in Pasco and Richland, and is streamed on the city's Facebook page, website, YouTube channel, and GoToWebinar. This and previous council meeting video is available on the city's website. Lastly, the public may submit their comments and or questions by contacting the city manager, city clerk, or by using the Ask Pasco app. With that, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Brown.
Present.
Campos.
Here.
Milne.
Present.
Roach. Present. Serrano.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Maloney.
Present.
And Mayor Barajas.
Mayor Barajas is excused this evening. And with that, will you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? All right, thank you very much. Next, move on to item number 4, the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by roll call vote as one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If further discussion is desired by council members, the item may be removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda and considered separately. We have item A, approval of meeting minutes for August 21st and August 28th. Item B, we have approval of claims in the amount of $7,818,775.45. Item C, ordinance number 4680, amending the Pasco Municipal Code section 25.180.050 relating to corner lot fencing. Item D, resolution number 4370, interlocal agreement with the Pasco School District for joint use of facilities. Is there any item that a council member would like to remove? If not, Councilmember Brown, would you like to make a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilmember Serrano. Can we get a roll call on that, please?
Yes. Councilmember Serrano.
Yes.
Councilmember Campos.
Yes.
Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Milne.
Yes.
Councilmember Roach. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Maloney.
Yes.
Thank you.
With that approved unanimously. Move on to item 5, proclamations and acknowledgements. None are listed, which brings us to item 6, public comments. The public may address council on any items unless it relates to a scheduled public hearing. This item is provided to allow the opportunity to bring items to the attention of the City Council or to express an issue or opinion on an issue. Its purpose is not to provide a venue for debate or for the posing of questions with the expectation of an immediate response. Some questions require consideration by council over time and after a deliberative process with input from a number of different sources. Some questions are best directed to staff members who have access to specific information. Citizen comments will be normally limited to 3 minutes each. Those with lengthy messages are invited to summarize their comments and or submit written information for consideration by the council outside of formal meetings. And I'll note that our city clerk has a timer there for your convenience to know when you're up to your 3-minute mark. With that, is there any member of the public that would like to speak tonight? Yes, ma'am. Yes, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record, please. And just go ahead and push the button and on the microphone to turn it on.
It's the gray button in the basement.
Perfect. And the clerk will start the timer.
Good evening, council members. My name is Mary Lou Martinez. And I'm here because I have emailed you guys of the short-term rentals and on Airbnb. And I kind of just wanted to share my experience. I mean, I've used the app for a very long time. I've traveled all over the world. I've met people from all over the world using the app. And when my husband and I became homeowners, we just had the idea maybe we should do this. I mean, it was just me and him. So we didn't have any kids and we had the room. We wanted to create some passive income. So we did that. And over time, we definitely grew a passion for it. We were able to, have some additional household income, and we were able to accommodate many travelers that are now permanently living in Tri-Cities. Most of the guests that we had moved all over the country for work. They didn't have permanent housing, but needed to find a place to stay immediately, and that's what we were able to offer. We also did receive, we had to close our Airbnb now, but we had a lot of one night stays for travelers just passing through, especially like coming from bigger parks, and we're in the Pacific Northwest, so most of the nice touristy places are not a couple hours away from us, but we're a very nice point just for needing somewhere to stay. And not only that, but Pasco is the only city that doesn't allow it. Kennewick and Richland both allow it. And I even reached out to one of the economic development managers from Kennewick, and they don't have any restrictions on Airbnb so long as you obtain a business license after you make $12,000 a year. As you guys know, inflation rates are at its all-time high. I don't agree with the city getting in the way of what homeowners do in their homes, and I'll allow people to host a spare room or a space, especially for paying taxes, and we're doing this responsibly. It's a great platform, and it has rules, and it does give homeowners power to kind of delegate, the type of travelers that come through. And I'm not going to say everything's been perfect, but we have, learned our lessons, but also found a way to make it efficient and not create a nuisance in our neighborhood. Because at the end of the day, we live in that home, and we don't want to be in danger or anything. So we have been very responsible with that. But it's just been something that if we see value in SROs and allow investors from out of town to come in, why can't you let homeowners just earn a few bucks to help with household expenses in this time? And my time's up. Sorry.
Ma'am, thank you for your comments. Are there other members of the audience that would like to speak tonight? Sir?
Hey, good evening, Council. Peter Harpster, 525 Road 47 in Pasco. I put up a post on Facebook this week regarding Councilman Brown that I wanted to read from, and I've edited it a little bit so that it makes sense being read in person instead of read online on a social media post. It says, I spent Saturday morning last week driving around Pasco, fixing my campaign signs, as well as the signs of others, including my opponent. One of my large signs was demolished almost beyond repair. Others were intentionally pulled from the ground and thrown into the street, and others have been kicked in. And I just got a message this evening that another large one was knocked down. And I'm not alone in this. Almost every candidate in Pasco's had this happen to them. I was feeling super demotivated that morning, and then I heard about what happened to one of Irving Brown's prominent signs on Road 68. And as we all know, his sign was knocked down as well, but a racist and hateful message was left behind. And in that moment, my own issue seemed so insignificant to just have them pulled up and thrown down. I only met Councilman Brown a couple of months ago at a National Night Out event that he held at his home. We spent almost an hour talking, he and my wife and I, and in the conversation, he reminded me of the old UPS slogan, what can Brown do for you? Anyone remember that? Because he lives to serve, and both in his career as a human resources specialist and in his church, family, and community, not just here on council. When we left the event that night, I told my wife, that guy loves the Lord and loves his community, that I'm sure of. What makes me even more upset is that this has become a pattern. This kind of racist hatred has been targeted at Councilman Brown before and continues to persist. It takes a village to run a city, everybody in here, and it takes a village to address issues like racism. And I believe issues like that can be addressed when we work together as a team and stand with each other. I'm saddened that there's people in our own community who would choose to judge someone based on their skin color instead of the content of their character, as Dr. King so eloquently stated years ago. Jesus said it, I believe, best, as quoted in the Gospel of John, a new command I give you, love one another. In another version, he said, love your neighbor, just like my shirt says tonight. And as a side note, whether you believe in Jesus or not, I think we can all agree that loving your neighbors and one another is, if nothing else, good advice. So my challenge to the person who wrote that hateful message, even though they may not hear this, is to get to know Mr. Brown, because I guarantee that he's willing to get to know you and forgive you, because that's the type of person that I've known him to be. Irving and I took this picture. There was a picture on Facebook, the two of us, at a ribbon cutting ceremony in Pasco. When I got done snapping the photo, he said, that's Pasco right there, baby. And I thought to myself, damn right it is. Irving, I'm sorry you're dealing with this, but keep fighting the fight, keep the faith, and know that we, your city, have your back.
Thank you. Gentleman in the back.
Evening, Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I come to you with three different items. The first thing that I come to you with,
Just real quick, can you say your name for the record, please?
I'm sorry, my name is Stephen Bauman. So the first thing I come to you with is as the chairman of the Franklin County Republican Party. And Mr. Brown, I wanted to speak loudly and clearly as the chairman of a political party and as somebody that cares deeply for my community. I'm sorry what happened to you, and racism has no place in our community in any form or any fashion. And I'm going to leave it mostly with what we just heard Peter say. Those sentiments I carry, I feel as he feels. There's no place for that in our community. And the content of our character should be the measure, not any other. And so whoever that individual was, don't know that there's any way that they are ever identified, but as the chairman of the Republican Party, I condemn them in the strongest possible fashion that I can. Thank you. Two other items. The first, I wanted to give you an update on what I brought to you 2 weeks ago. And again, Councilman Brown, I would like to say thank you. You're the only one that has made any effort to reach out to me, either from council or from staff, about my constitutional rights being taken away from me and being sent a letter from the city of Pasco telling me to cease and desist doing business in Pasco and taking away the ability of me to make a living for my family in this city. I'm really kind of at a loss of what to do about that. I haven't retained counsel, but for lack of any response or any apparent concern, I wonder if that would be wise on my part. I'm not sure. I will continue to consider that. The third thing is I think that I'll just give you updates occasionally. I have a lot of eggs in my Pasco basket, and the livelihood of my family depends on my ability to work effectively with Pasco. And today, in standing in front of you, I don't know how to do that. I have quite a number of projects. I'm going to give you a couple of them really quickly while I have time. I have one project that I call Jefferson Landing. I purchased this piece of land from the city of Pasco, and I put in an application to change the zoning to commercial. And I was told that it needed to be residential, not commercial. So through an opportunity, I had that project, somebody interested in it, and I have it today on the market for sale, and I have it under contract if I can change it to residential zoning. And I'm at a loss because I can't have it commercial, I can't have it residential, and I'm stuck today. For almost 2 months now, the city council, it was on your agenda, and I haven't got a response. I don't know where I'm at. I can't have it commercial, I can't have it residential.
Bauman, your time is up.
Thank you, Debbie. Anyone else like to speak with us this evening? Back. Thank you. Just turn it back off. Could you go ahead and push that button again? Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Kim Lehrman at 6514 West Park Street here in Pasco. Yes, what happened to Irving Brown happened to our entire community. And yes, what happened to him is not a shocker. Unfortunately, it's not a shocker. As a teacher in the Pasco School District, I hear those words, and it's unfortunate, and it has to change. But the change can't be just soft-spoken, nice words. Let's come together, let's unite. Instead, it needs to come with action. And I'm asking you, City Council, as the leaders of our community, to consider what can be done. Can the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Council come back with clear goals and expectations and support in order to be able to bring in united voices throughout the community to be able to help set forth a vision of what does including, what does diversity, what does belonging actually mean here in the city of Pasco. As a proud parent of Japanese American children, they know racism exists from kindergarten all the way through being a senior. They know it exists amongst students and adults. So once again, City Council, what else can we do? When across the river is being hosted the Tri-City Diversity Inclusion Council, and I don't see the city of Pasco there supporting it. If we don't want to partner with another nonprofit organization, could we have a culture day here in Pasco? Could this culture day invite all diverse voices in order to be able to be heard, seen, not just talked about, not just placated, and not just with empty words of sympathy, but action. And so those are my words for you guys, and I hope you guys can be able to take it to heart, because I know each person up there has expressed sentiment that they are very, very upset that what happened to Brown, also, Council Brown, also happened to our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Gentleman in the back.
You gotta turn it back on.
Staff and council, Thomas Granbois, Big Maple Properties, 108 North 4th Avenue in Pasco. I was hoping tonight's comments would be nice and quick, saying thank you for embracing our downtown again. This council has done a great job. The mural code amendments that you guys made were excellent. We really appreciate that, and I think it's a big win for the First Amendment and for our small businesses. But obviously, I want to talk about something else. I've sat in these council chambers and seen misogynist attacks against our council members, and that's unacceptable. And the silence then was deafening. I was in here the first time when a community leader came in and attacked Irving Brown, and it was shocking, but still silence. I was even told when I shared that, it was suggested that I take down my posting on Facebook when I called it out, and unfortunately I did. Irving and I talked about that. And I was here the second time those awful attacks were launched against you, and it doesn't belong in our community. And it's really unfortunate that we had people who sit on City of Pasco advisory committees who are complaining about the other folks who came out to speak on your behalf that last time, right at the podium here. Now, when we're quiet, when something like that happens right at our face, it just lets it bubble and grow underneath, and we need to all step up and condemn this kind of behavior. Sure, it's challenging when it's somebody who maybe goes to your church is talking like this, but you should call them out. Maybe it's somebody who's, you've gone to sports games with and you've hung out with, but you need to call this out at every chance, or else it will just grow. It is absolutely disgusting, and I'm not running for anything. I don't plan on ever running for anything, but I don't know how hard it is for a candidate to say, hey, if you're a racist, keep your name out of my mouth. If you're a misogynist, don't endorse me. But it's the year 2023, and we still have people accepting those kind of endorsements and those kind of promotions, and it's beyond disgusting. So I hope this council can continue doing the great work that you've been doing, serving the community. We've seen so many positive things. We've seen our downtown make a big turnaround in terms of safety. We just have seen outdoor dining roll out. Something that we've been talking about. A lot of these things that we've seen, that we've been talking about for years, are finally happening. And like Councilmember Brown, you had great words about, hey, let's keep on working, because we can't stop working, but we can do two things at once. We can call out this kind of behavior to people's faces, and we can keep on working at the same time. And if we can't do that, then I don't know what to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments this evening? All right, seeing none, thank you all very much for your comments. Again, it sucks being up in this podium and having things that we'd very much all like to discuss and weigh in on. That's really just not the venue for that. So I thank you all for your comments and know that they do not go unheard. All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 7, reports from committees and/or officers, and we're looking for verbal reports from council members. Any council member have something, a meeting they attended, or a report that they'd like to share? Not seeing any lights on here. I will, Councilmember Milne, I assume that you probably do not have an opportunity to attend any of your meetings, but I want to give you the opportunity to speak up at this time if you have anything to say.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been in bed and been in a lot of pain, so I haven't been able to be at any meetings, but I haven't missed any meetings either. So, but thanks for asking.
All right, well, I really appreciate your attendance. I know it's grueling, and I wish you a speedy recovery. All right, with that, I'll move on to item B, General Fund Monthly Report. Director Buckley.
Evening, council members. Tonight we will be looking at the general fund report for the month of July, or through the month of July 2023. Oh, that's okay. I thought maybe it was something I pushed though. It follows the kind of typical packet form that we've been looking at through the year. This is a summary of what was in your council packet. It starts, of course, with the building permit activity. 2023 continues to be a year that has growing permit value, especially, and just slightly count. The count is slightly lower than 2022, but the permit value through the end of July is 62.6% higher than the previous year. And all categories are higher, the one with the exclusion of the residential category. And that's kind of a mixed bag. There's some that's made up of various types of residential permits, and it's about many have increased while a few have decreased. And on the increasing side, there's accessory dwellings, and major and minor alterations to existing homes. And then on the decrease side, there's a few less there's lower permit value for accessory structures, detached garages, and then most notably the single family dwelling units. They're down 37% as compared to 2022. Not, that's just something we'll look at. We expect that that's related to interest rates being high, and perhaps a little bit of lack of inventory. So as more homes are built and the interest rates hopefully drop a little, that might spur that to increase, but we'll continue tracking as the months go by. And then next page, we look at sales tax. This is reported as the tax is received. If you'll recall, we receive sales tax revenue each month of the year, but we only record in the given year the revenue for that was earned in that year. So 2023, when we look at the next page, we'll look a little different. But on this page, we're just looking from the years 2021 through 2023, what the year-to-date and monthly revenues are, and then the total. So you can see that in 2023, the revenues from sales tax are 12.69% higher than 21 and 13.48% lower than 2022. And as has been true in previous months, that decreased value between 22 and 23 is related to one project, that a large construction project in previous years. So, and I guess the other thing that I should note that goes along with that time difference is there's a 2-month lag in receipts. So this is really through May. The summer months haven't hit full force in the revenue that we've received. And so as we go into the last half of the year, we'll see those more reflected. And then this page just has an accounting of the types of sales tax by category. And we've listed out the top 10 revenue producing categories of sales. So motor vehicle sales and part sales is the highest, and it's significantly above any other category at 25% of the revenue we receive. And then you can see the percentages go down just a little bit as we work our way down through the top 10, and then that the remaining revenues are very spread out, I guess is probably the most important and interesting part of this sales tax list, is that we do get our sales tax revenue from a fairly diverse group of regular purchases, other than the motor vehicles just stay consistently rather high. And then depending upon the construction that's occurring, that line for construction of buildings may go up or be a little lower. So we're going to continue to watch that construction and building information. Here we are looking at the general fund revenue compared to the budget. So we have all the large categories of revenue that we receive, and then for a quick note, or for a quick look, I know that looking in depth is a little easier on a piece of paper, but here in the council chambers, you can look at that very far right-hand column with the percentages. We are at 29% of the biennium right now, except for the case of, there's variations along this, of course, because everything doesn't come in 1/24 of a biennium or 2/24. So here, of course, sales tax is really 5 months worth, so it's more, we would expect it to be about 20%, so very close there for the retail sales tax. And then for the public safety sales tax, it is at 20%, and that's just I think a budgeting difference that we have there, that we might need to tighten those up a little bit when we move forward in our budgeting. And then every other category is recognizing revenue either above or as expected for this part of this far into the biennium. So we're pleased about that. The only difference, or I guess the thing that I want to point out that's making it kind of be lower for the total, is that transfers and subsidies revenue, and a large percentage of that, or almost all of it, is related to the debt issuance we are working on and should be issued here about the end of September, and so you'll see that number jump up a lot. And that is why we've taken the without debt proceeds, or included that without debt proceeds, so you see a little better representation of the revenue that we've received from all other categories at 24%. On this page, we have general fund expenses, of course, very important to look at with the revenue side. They're under the 29%, so that makes us pleased. All categories are under that percent, with the exception of capital outlays, which just go with how quickly a budget or project is proceeding, but we don't expect those to be over budget. And then services, of course, we've been looking at that category all through the year, and have been digging in there. The things that are making it a little high are one-time invoicing at the beginning of the year, mainly for insurance and software contracts, or any kind of continuing contract that's year-long in duration. And then repair and maintenance related kind of expenses. So we do know that there's been some supply chain impact, and things have cost a little more recently than we may be budgeted for, but we're going to just continue looking and seeing if that's a continuing trend or if it will cause us any budgetary problems, and investigate that really in depth during our mid-biennium review of what actual expenses are causing that, if it's a category within that repair and maintenance kind of items, and pay attention to that. So that's on our radar for sure. And then I know that just last council meeting, we had an ARPA update, but I've failed to put this in the last few general fund reports, or all this year's maybe. So we've added it back in. So I'm glad to. We just have a list, and I've kind of separated between the things have arranged and already ongoing, or either completed or ongoing on the left-hand side, and then on that little orange box are the things that remain and are going to be discussed further with council of what type of, you know, the level of funding and definitely have your guidance. And so we have that in the orange box there with a little, if we add up all the allocations and potential allocations and compared to the dollars that we've received, we're a little over allocated. So that's just, want to make sure to point that out so we don't have any misunderstandings. And then we always give a little update about construction projects, especially these ones that are general fund supported. And so Fire Station 85 and the Animal Control Facility both are going well. And I kindly got information from the people in the know there. The Fire Station 85 drywalls being installed. The locution or dispatching alerting system is being, or the equipment's coming, and then it's on schedule for the January 2024 opening. And as far as animal control facility, same good work, that insulation's installed, they're framing the interior currently, and then in the next few weeks they'll be moving on to siding application and electrical and plumbing. So soon you should see a lot of big changes out there. As far as financial outlook, everything is looking as expected. We're paying good attention as to what spending and how the revenues are coming in to the general fund, and don't have any concerns. And then at the big picture, we're going to come back soon with a connection fee analysis. Why that doesn't typically, doesn't always affect just the general fund. It's important to the all the funds where those exist, and it helps offset any requests from the general fund to help support other funds. CIP planning is continuing. We'll be starting the mid-biennium review soon. We had today our first kickoff meeting on our general fund long-term study, and are very excited about that and think it'll provide a lot of help moving forward. And then we also are at the very last stages. The bonds have not been offered yet, but we're very close to have our rating agency, our rating call done, and expect to have proceeds about September 28th. And that's the full report. If you have any questions, I'm glad to try to answer them.
Director Buckley, really appreciate that thorough presentation. My big takeaways were we're pretty well on track. Anytime we're tracking within 1% of our plan, if anyone has done any budgeting for any company, that is admirable. And for a city to be able to do this over a biennium is a really tough task. So big kudos to our forecasting on that, and knowing that we'll be able to adjust along the way to make sure that we hit it right.
Team effort for sure.
Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Milne, any questions or comments for Director Buckley?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move on to item 8, hearings and council actions on ordinances and resolutions relating thereto, none listed. Item number 9, ordinances and resolutions not relating to hearings. We have item A, ordinance number 4681, Ziply Fiber Franchise Agreement. Mr. Ferguson.
Great, great. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So yeah, we've been over this and over this and over this. So this was the final draft. We were able to go through it, spent a few hours making sure all the, with all the edits that things tied back to the original sections, or the sections that they should, because the original sections had been deleted or moved or those types of things. So yeah, just a lot of administrative work between last time and now. The only new addition would be a reference to some city staff had requests and had some concerns about potentially the extra expense of having to do after hours or weekend inspection work. And so we added some provisions to make sure that there would be compensation. So we would be able to be made whole from those types of things, because it sounds like Ziply's going to be working quite swiftly. So with that, yeah, happy to try to answer any other questions.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. I know we had a thorough conversation about it last week. Any council members have any additional questions for Mr. Ferguson? Councilmember Milne, any questions or comments for Mr. Ferguson?
Nope, good again. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, with that, Councilmember Brown, do you want to make a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance number 4681, approving a non-exclusive franchise to construct, install, maintain, repair, or remove fiber optic cables within the public ways of the city of Pasco, and further authorize publication by summary only.
All right, we have a motion. Do you have a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Campos. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. With that, we'll move on to item 9B. This is a quasi-judicial matter, ordinance number 4682. Coles Estate rezone from C1 to MU. And I note that Director Gonzalez is not here. Is he online to speak to us, or Mr. Ferguson?
No, I've been told to assist, and so I'm happy to help. Just a little bit. Fortunately, Ms. Stickney is with us this evening, and she represents the applicant. But essentially, this is pretty much a straightforward rezone regarding a potential an area that has been C1 commercial. It's requesting to go to mixed use, and if council has any questions of the applicant, I'm sure Ms. Stickney would be happy to enlighten us all. But we can. I can try to answer any questions, but I guess I do need to go through the script first. I'm kind of out of order here, so let me get through the script. So it's a quasi-judicial matter, a hearing to render a final decision on the material presented. It's defined as proceeding which council defines the legal rights, duties, privileges, and specific parties in a hearing or contested proceeding. The appearance of fairness doctrine applies, and the hearing must be fair in three respects: form, substance, and appearance. All council members should consider whether they have potential conflicts as follows: A, a demonstrated bias for or against any of the parties; B, any direct or indirect financial interest in the outcome of the proceeding which would affect the council members personally; C, whether there has been any prejudgment of the issues prior to hearing the facts; D, whether there has been any ex parte contact with anyone other than staff prior to this hearing; and finally, E, any other conflict which a council member believes would prevent them from hearing this matter fairly and impartially. If any council member has any of these concerns or disclosures, now would be the time to make them known. Hearing none, are there any members?
To see your light on. Do you have any disclosures, or no, you're good? And Councilmember Milne, did you have any disclosures to make?
No.
Thank you.
Great. Are there any members of the public seeking to disqualify a member of council from participating in these proceedings? Seeing none, please proceed. So with that, happy to try to answer any questions about the particular property or rezone.
All right, great. And I would note that that some of our code was changed on proposed changes by the applicant for this property. Is that accurate?
No, I thought it is. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
You're accurate. That was something that that Elite Construction had worked with the city and proposed this change, and this was definitely a partnership to come up with the language that ultimately led to this zone being created.
Thank you. All right. Any questions or comments from council? Councilmember Serrano.
Thank you. Since Mr. Gonzalez is not here, it's maybe a little tricky because I'm looking at the history of this. It was once residential transition. It's now commercial one. It's now going to mixed use, which then entails the opportunity to do residential and commercial, correct? Okay. It's just an interesting history, I guess I'll say. And I understand that most of us weren't here in 1984, whenever that was, that it was residential transition. And obviously we can't speak to the project because there may or may not be one, and we're not approving that at this point. It's just, I guess it opens the door to some questions that I guess I'll have to hold on to in the future as to the history and the proposal and what the project will look like. So I guess I just want to show that hand, and yeah, I've got some questions, but I don't think it's appropriately before us right now.
Thank you, Councilmember Serrano. Could Mr. Ferguson, could you or another staff member enlighten us about the RT, the residential transition zoning, what the purpose of that is?
That's usually just the holding zone. So that's when something comes into the city, it's put into a transition phase, so that because it's the services aren't there yet. So that's my understanding of it anyway. That's the whole point of it, is to keep it in that holding area.
Okay, great. And then, could you remind us of the process as to when outside of a zoning, potential application may be in front of council?
In
Is there
term-
another opportunity for?
In terms of timing, did Ms. Stickney?
I'm sorry, I don't mean in terms of timing, just process generically. I don't want to talk about
Oh,
a project
sure.
specific during a quasi-judicial matter that it's
Sure.
not in front of us. So I want to be very careful, just generically the process of after a rezone, if someone were to bring forward, what's council's next role?
So I believe for this project, and again, I don't want to talk out of school here, but I believe for this type of project, it would have to go through the application process for the particular site plan. I'm not sure whether this particular site plan or this type of use for mixed use would come back to council for an approval of that, or if that's something that's done administratively. Sorry, I can't speak to that right off the top of my head, but unless anybody else has that answer.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to make sure that we touched on some of those points, Councilmember Serrano. I think those are always valid and important for the public to understand as well. Councilmember Milne, any questions or comments on this matter?
No, I think I'm good with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, seeing no other questions or comments in front of us, Councilmember Brown, would you like to make a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance number 4682, amending the zoning classification of certain real property located along the north side of Sandover Parkway between roads 90 and 92. Pasco, Franklin County, Washington, from C1 to MU, and further authorize publication by summary only.
All right, we have a motion in front of us. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Campos. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Nay.
And any abstentions? All right, motion passes. All right, with that wraps up item number 9. Moving on to item number 10, unfinished business, non-listed. Item 11, new business, also non-listed. And so that gets us to item 12, miscellaneous discussion. I'll kick it over to City Manager Lincoln first to kick us off.
Make one more public pitch for Fiery Foods. It's going to be this Saturday from 9 to 3. So I hope everyone can come down. It's going to be really great. We're going to have a lot of really good vendors that are going to be down there. The food's going to be amazing. The seating will be plentiful, and we'll also have I think it's going to be a very entertaining pepper eating contest this year. Staff have been already showing their ability to eat things like habaneros without even sweating, and no use of water, milk, or any other supplements to get through that. So I think there's going to be some ringers this year, and I can't wait to watch personally.
Anything else, Mr. Lincoln? All right. Thank you. Councilmember Serrano.
Mr. Lincoln, I was hoping you'd prompt me, but as I recall, council got an email earlier that indicated we'd either have a light or no need for a meeting next Monday. Is that correct?
That's correct. I appreciate the reminder there. I got so excited about the hot peppers.
Yeah, no, I mean, you talked about ringers, so certainly you had some excitement there. So with that, if I'm correct in my understanding that we have the ability to cancel next Monday's meeting, given limited agenda, I will make that motion to cancel our September 11th meeting, and that's a workshop meeting. So I guess I moved to cancel the September 11th, 2023 workshop meeting.
I'll second that too.
All right, we have a motion and some enthusiastic support. Any questions or comments on that? All right. All those in favor of canceling the September 11th council meeting signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? All right, motion passes unanimously. And with that, I'll kick it over to Councilmember Campos.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Maloney. I'm actually surprised that Councilman Milne decided to not vote no for that. I want the community to know that I went to go see David when he was in the hospital. He was in pretty rough shape, and I kid everybody not, the man was working. He was working on personal stuff, but he was also more than happy to talk about city business, and it just, this community is very lucky to have somebody represent them who loves doing what he does as much as he does. The guy doesn't have an off switch, and I'm really glad that you're doing all right, David, and you're back with us, and look forward to sharing the rest of the year with you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Campos. I would certainly echo those sentiments. Councilmember Milne, just give you an opportunity if you want to respond and roast him or thank him.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I appreciate everybody coming to visit me in the hospital. And yeah, it's still in a lot of pain, but I'll make it through. So thank you.
All right. Well, again, I certainly wish you a speedy recovery, and I know my fellow council members and certainly city staff as well have the same sentiments. All right. Looks like I'm last up, and I do have an announcement to make, and it's pretty bittersweet. So just bear with me through this, please. So I am announcing my intent to resign from Pasco City Council effective October 2nd. So that's in 4 weeks, approximately. I know when anyone resigns, they always cite personal reasons. And sometimes, you know, when every CEO in the country who has ever been fired has announced resignation for personal reasons, you can get a little suspicious. But I can promise you that mine truly is for personal reasons. This last vacation that I took was the first thing I'd taken in 11 years. Any vacation over a week. And someone asked me, well, why is it taking you so long to take the time to take a real vacation with your family? And the simple fact is that I've spent so much of me dedicated to public service, both on council and my volunteerism and work before council, that really there wasn't a lot of space for that. I am very much an on switch or off switch sort of guy, so I'm all in if I'm in. And really, at this stage in my life, my family, my personal business, which is suffering due to a lack of attention, and my day job, my career, really deserve my full attention. You know, it's been almost 6 years since I've been on council, you know, Pasco has progressed so incredibly far from where we started towards this shared vision of like a thriving, prosperous, and modern city. And really, I know we're in such good hands with our amazing city staff, and led by our new city manager, Mr. Adam Lincoln. We're in amazing hands. So when we, you know, those who are called to serve their city, you know, we steward it for our community members for a time, right? But cities are kind of forever, and we're pretty temporary in the scheme of things. And so now we have an opportunity for someone else in District 6 to step up and represent our great city and the people in it. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not moving. I'm not leaving the community. I love Pasco very much, and I will just I'll continue to build the community in new ways that maybe I haven't in the past. So, yeah, certainly bittersweet. So there's much more background. I'm sure I'll talk to you all more about it, but with this announcement of, again, intent to resign on October 2nd, gives my fellow council members and staff an opportunity to publish this and allow for applicants and give you hopefully ample time to choose a replacement while not having to deal with any sort of lengthy gap. So, anyways, I'm sure I can ramble on more about this, and I'm sure I'll have personal conversations with many throughout the coming months. But yeah, that's what I got. Councilmember Campos?
Yeah, I'll try to keep the kumbayas pretty short. I'm sure we'll have more. Just want to probably voice the rest of this council's feeling. This does come as a surprise, only because I understand the type of person you are. You're definitely all in. And so I'm sure making this decision was very difficult to make. It's not like you to not want to finish something and see it all the way through. But that goes to the rest of the community. And it's really easy to judge us for what they see up here on Monday nights. And they don't understand that a lot of the work takes place 24 hours a day. Again, as I mentioned, Councilman Milne in the hospital, more than willing to conduct himself as a city council member. And, you know, this job really is a 24/7 kind of job, and it's taken a toll on personal relationships, professional relationships, and, you know, that person who is going to fill those shoes for however long, I hope they're ready, because while this may seem like a small-time gig, this is the big leagues. You know, this is a big responsibility for somebody to take on in the interim. So just you know, I can't thank you enough for the mentorship and leadership you've shown me and the other council members. You know, I'm a big proponent of not having groupthink, and your opinion and the diverse opinions you brought to council, I think, has helped us move in a positive direction. And just, I'm positive that you will continue to contribute in some way, shape, or form outside of councils. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Yes, it was a difficult decision, but it is important to model the best behavior one can for one's children and community. And how would I want my children to respond if something that they're doing becomes unbalanced? And this is what I'd like to model for my children. Councilmember Serrano.
Obviously, hits me with a surprise. You know, we got elected together. We campaigned, obviously not physically together because we're in different districts, but campaigned at the same time. We've come up and we've done a lot of great things together. And there's no surprise we've disagreed on a lot, but I will miss you. It's been a good learning opportunity, and just watching you. I mean, yes, you all in is probably shy of how far you've gone. And I do know that just from some of the off the cuff comments and some of the conversations that, you know, we've all sacrificed for this, but you've sacrificed greatly, and your family too. And, you know, my hope is that you guys can get that time and what you need, the space you need. And, you know, I won't be coming beating your door down to bug you. So Emily, don't worry, I know you're in the back. But, you know, certainly as a friend, as a colleague, I'm here. If you need something, happy to chat. And whatever you do, you're going to be all in. You're going to do great. And, you know, can God bless you in your next endeavors. You'll be missed, man. It's been a good 6 years. It's hard to believe it's been that, but thank you. Thank you for your commitment.
Thank you. And I will let everyone know there will be a roast and we'll say retirement party later. So you don't all have to get it out right now, but I appreciate the kind words, especially off the cuff. Because I know I've surprised the heck out of all of you, and yeah, thank you. Councilmember Brown.
See, I'm never a loss for words. This one got me. Boy, I can chat it up. But what I will say is, you know, this is a great presentation of leadership. This is how you lead your house. You prioritize. You put the pieces of the puzzles back together, and that makes everything make sense. So I applaud you for being the husband that you are, the father that you are, the leader that you've shown over this year that I've been on council. I'm overjoyed to hear you prioritize and focus on your family, which is a blessing. I pray that you receive an abundance of blessings by creating a shift. The city will make its way through. You'll be missed, but you know, a job is a job. But we look to hear from you. The podium is still there. The mic is still hot right now, as a matter of fact. So, you know, welcome back to the chambers. But I applaud you for being a man standing flat-footed to level his home, his marriage, his children, and to present yourself as a great leader. So I'm really, really proud of you, the decision that you're making to flourish. So Godspeed, and I wish you all the best. And I'll probably still bother you and Emily a lot. So those things are not going away. You just won't be sitting on the dais. So we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Councilmember Roach.
I want to see if Councilmember Milne has a comment.
I can do my best. Did you want to go first, or do you want me to ask him before you?
Sure. I didn't want him to get forgotten about because he's virtual, and I remember what that was like for 3 months. Yeah, talk about a little bit blindsided by not expecting that, and I think that I've watched you be so diligent and dedicated to this community. It's admirable. You haven't cut corners in reading your packet, in ever saying no to community members when they want to meet for something, any idea that they have, even if there's not a lot of push behind it, you still give them the time of day that they, they ask for. And I've learned a lot from you in terms of, paying attention to city budget and comments that you've made. I mean, that is one area that, from a legislative policymaker perspective, that's one area that I've stand to gain a lot in 3.5 years of being here, and most of that coming from you. I would also say that I 100% understand just being in this position, knowing that, and I think all of your peers here do understand as well, that the sacrifice you make of being a public servant is a sacrifice of family. You ask a lot of your own family to sacrifice your valuable time with them, and quality time. And so I have a lot of compassion for Emily and the girls, and I think there's, what we stand to lose in a council member, they stand to gain in a dad and a husband, and that's amazing. So I don't begrudge you that at all. I'm happy for you that you got to this decision, even though I'm selfishly sad that you don't get to be here with us. So thanks for sharing your truth, and yeah, you will be missed.
Thank you. Bittersweet. Councilmember Milne.
Hey, yeah. Councilman Milne, I'd like to say a few words. As your neighbor for the last couple of years, it also comes as a huge shock. I've appreciated your articulation and the way you say things and your demeanor, and especially on hard subjects, and how you're always able to keep calm and be just very precise with your words. And I do look up to you on that. And then I really appreciate your time on Leadership Tri-Cities. That's where I first got to know you, and I know how much you wanted to serve our community and build up great leaders. And again, it's been a pleasure. And again, I don't agree with you on everything, but a lot of stuff we actually really did agree on. The murals and some of the other stuff that we've been fighting for years. So I do appreciate your hard fighting for the city and the people of Pasco. And again, I just can't believe that you're going to be gone, but you will be missed, and I hope to see you around. And again, I just know you're a great guy, and again, someone that I have really looked up to, and I think you do a good job. So thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Yes, I'm not going anywhere. I have a city to fight for. It just won't be from this seat. All right. Well, thank you all very much. And I swear this isn't yet retire. I'm still gonna be here for another 4 weeks. Come on. 3 weeks, 2 weeks maybe. I don't know. City Manager Lincoln.
Well, I'll be brief. I first of all, thank you for your service. I think being a public servant, and especially putting all of yourselves out there to be an elected official is no small task. That takes a lot to have your face and oftentimes your families out in front of everybody like that. So I want to say thank you for your service. But I also want to talk a little bit about logistics for everyone else briefly. I think I did get a little heads up on this, enough to try and provide some information to the rest of you that, one, we can post this as quickly as tomorrow so that it's out and people can start thinking about who's going to be available to put in their application for this. And two, I would recommend that we keep it to about 2 weeks to do the initial review of candidates, so that, like we've done in the past, when we get to the second, we can do the interviews, and if there's a candidate that you all agree upon, can be selected that same night. So I just wanted to discuss that with everyone and make sure I kind of got nodding heads that was the or not discussion for the path forward.
I guess I'm still leading this meeting. Council, thoughts on City Manager Lincoln's statements there? Councilmember Campos.
Yeah, the sooner the better. I think this individual is going to miss the general, so they'll have to be on the next general election. So there'll be a 2-year term for their appointment, essentially.
So they would come back, yes, so the filing obviously is passed for this round, so they would be up the next time that there is an election for city, which would be 25. So Yeah, that would be
Yeah, the sooner the better, I think, for their benefit to integrate themselves with existing council members. It just gives them a little bit more leverage that when the next group comes in, if there any come in, that that person's a little bit seated and this council has a little bit of experience underneath its belt, because there's a potential for a lot of green candidates. So I think it would be beneficial to just get it out, let somebody get up here and let them start to lead.
Thank you, Councilmember Campos. Councilmember Serrano.
No surprise, I've got a different approach, and I think we can just wait until the general certified. Call it either at the end of the year or the beginning of the year.
Just a few
Mr.
timelines.
Ferguson?
Yeah, just a few timelines so we're all clear on it. So there's 90 days from the date of the vacancy. So that the city council has to fill the vacancy, or it goes to the county, and then the county has 90 days. And if they don't fill it, then it goes to the governor. So there would be 90 days from, if everything goes according to plan, or as it's planned now, the vacancy would occur at 12/01 on October 2nd. You would have from October 2nd, you'd have 90 days to fill the seat, or it would revert to the county. So that's the timeline. The way the elections, to your point, Mr. Serrano, I think the way the elections run, they get certified around, I'm not sure when this one certifies, around the 17th. Should be somewhere 2 weeks, usually about 2 weeks after the date. I don't want to talk out of school there, maybe even the 20th. But it's mid to late November is when certification happens, typically.
Okay. I mean, I think we've got time. I'll leave it at that. I think we could have some significant turnover in council with half our seats up. So that's my position.
Thank you, Councilmember Serrano. Any other council members want to weigh in?
Clear though, not just want to make sure I haven't confused anything for you. The new council, if there is new members from this election, those would not be seated before the 90 days. I mean, it would be incredibly close, like January 2nd, potentially. Or maybe even New Year's Day would be the 90th day. So they would have to be sworn in. Anyone that is new on council would have to be sworn in. So the new council wouldn't start until after the first of the year, and they're seated, and then obviously a mayor is elected and all that. So that couldn't take place prior to filling the seat.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Councilmember Brown.
Just for clarification, we're just kind of tossing this on the table for tonight, right?
Absolutely.
You
So
know,
yeah, there's
one shocker after another here. We're trying to.
It's scary how little direction the state law has on how this process goes. The only thing really is that you have to seat the person. There has to be a vacant seat, and that vacancy has to be filled within 90 days. With someone who's qualified, obviously, that meets the requirements. But other than that, there is not hardly any direction for how you go through this process. It's truly up to the council. Whether you advertise for it, whether you interview for it, all those things, just the seat, and then it has to be filled within 90 days. That's pretty much all we have.
Okay, so part B of my clarification, I just want to be sure. So we're not rushing to do that in this very moment. Am I correct?
Staff is looking for feedback on if it was council's direction to open it as early as tomorrow. So staff does need direction on whether or not that is the direction that council wants to go.
No, I'm okay with opening it as far as the earliest tomorrow. No, that's opening it. We got work to do still, right? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Councilmember Brown, I will not be out of the seat as intended until October 2nd. So, or I guess October 1st at 11:59, I believe, is what I've just committed to. So as of midnight on the 2nd, I would no longer be sitting in this seat. Councilmember Roach.
I just wanted to say I'm in favor of posting it right away. And then if legal counsel could describe what are the qualifications for a qualified candidate.
U.S. citizen, a voter. We have a little bit of a nuance because we're a code city. So instead of just the 30 days of residency, there has to be a year. So for us, it's 18 registered voter for at least a year in the city. Now, the question is, we go by district, so it would have to be within that district for a year, I believe. I need to check on that, but I couldn't find that real quick before I left the office.
Lincoln, did you? Okay. Councilmember Roach, any other thoughts that you have?
Nope. Thank you for asking.
Councilmember Campos.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Maloney. That's an interesting nuance if it's within the district. Does that include if it's a redistricted, newly districted area? Do they have to be, does it matter if it's, that's I guess where it's interesting is because is it in the area that's been redistricted and they have to be redistricted for a year? Just, I've lived in this house for, 20 years and I've just been in there and it doesn't matter if it's redistricted 6 months, but my residency, and so that's interesting.
It is, because there's actually a statute that talks about newly annexed areas and other areas that were in former areas and what gets counted and what doesn't. So I don't want to talk off the cuff, but my sense is that it will be based on the new district, and then there may be a way to go back to the wherever the person lived prior may still count. But I don't know that. We do have an odd situation because we have new districts, but nobody here has been elected in those new districts yet. So we are kind of a little bit of a no man's land, but we can find our way through it. I'm not concerned that we won't get an answer. But to the previous question, we don't have a formal process for how we fill seats. So that's why I think Mr. Lincoln is asking for that direction this evening. And it would be best to, if council could decide what they wanted and then formalize that tonight, that would be preferred, because then we would have clear direction about what that needs to look like.
Okay, appreciate that.
So,
Yes, Councilmember Brown.
so I'm looking kind of partially at a process and then Robert Rules of Order. So are we creating a vote that we would unanimously vote on tonight to give council direction?
Yeah, what I would prefer is if we can, and there's no requirement that you do that this evening, but the preference I think would be from staff is to discuss how that process, what you would like that process to look like, and then somebody make a motion to follow that particular process and then go from there.
All right, I'll try to wrap up discussion so we can choose to make a motion and see where it goes. Councilmember Milne.
Yeah, I would recommend also just putting it out there. It's always hard to get good candidates, so the more time we give people, the better. So I'd suggest put it out tomorrow and go from there.
All right, thank you. I'll weigh in with my 2 cents. I didn't know about a 90-day clock, so I just want to make sure that's very clear. That was news to me today, so appreciate that, Mr. Ferguson. But I do not intend to serve through the end of this year, so any decision to delay this beyond beginning of October, you'll be doing it with a vacant seat through budget cycle and your CIP. So I would strongly recommend to my fellow council members to go ahead and move forward quickly. That would certainly be my preference, because I hate to have an empty seat on council. I think that diminishes the voice of our districts and voice of our people, as well as could make a situation where you as council end up having split votes, which can become very awkward for the community to navigate through. So there's my suggestion, but ultimately this is not my decision to make. I know I can weigh in on process if I so choose, but really I would rather defer to my fellow council members on that and not take a leadership role in that. Councilmember Campos.
Yeah, I'd like to take a stab at a motion, I think. I move to direct city staff to create and publish a posting for the open vacancy as early as September the 6th, 2023 for Mayor Pro Tem Maloney's open seat for District 6.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any additional discussion on this topic? All right, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a roll call vote, if that's all right.
All right, Councilmember Roach,
Yes.
Councilmember Serrano,
No.
Councilmember Campos,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Milne,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Maloney.
Yes.
So that's 5, 4, and 1 against.
All right. Thank you all very much, council, for both indulging my extension of this meeting. I really appreciate your kind words and empathy. And I note that when I look into each of your eyes, you all look as tired as I feel sometimes. And I, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate your service and the time you spend dedicated to this city as well. Councilor Milne, I wish I could look in your eyes as well and say the same thing, but know that that my sentiment is just as deeply with you as any. All right, with that, any other further items in front of us under miscellaneous discussion? Hearing none, is there a need for an executive session tonight? I'm seeing shaking head no, which brings us to item number 14, adjournment. Thank you all for coming and have a great evening.